The Bombardier jet, regularly used by Cirque du Soleil founder Guy Laliberté, touches down in Tahiti last fall. It's another 2-hour flight to his private island and his resort that can be rented by guests. Data on flight tracking website ADSB Exchange shows the Bombardier jet made 5 more trips to Tahiti over the coldest months of the pandemic, with extended stays in Hawaii too. The data does not say who was on each flight. He's not the only Canadian who flies in style on a distinctive jet. The Air Drake Boeing 767 made 4 Caribbean trips during the pandemic, including one flight from Hamilton, Ontario, while the province was under a stay-at-home order. Since March 2020, the federal government has urged Canadians to avoid non-essential travel, but the definition of essential is left up to the individual.
The government, in describing us as only doing essential travel, never gave any guidelines as to what essential was.
On one occasion this year, Drake was reportedly shooting a music video in the Bahamas. From February until Monday this week, even vaccinated passengers flying into Canada were obligated to pre-book 3 nights in a government quarantine hotel upon arrival. Drake's publicist declined to answer questions about who was on the flights and whether they ever checked in to a quarantine hotel. A spokesperson for La Liberté wouldn't comment on his travels, but said Guy and all guests on the plane scrupulously respected sanitary measures and quarantines. But unlike commercial passengers, it's possible they and many other private jet users relied on rapid molecular test services, getting their negative COVID results before they could even check into a hotel and allowing them to quarantine entirely at home.
There might have been a few instances where after completing that CBSA test kit, they received the result in a timely fashion and they left as you would and as was directed.
Canadian aircraft charter companies did not answer Global News questions about whether they offered this service. Many of their jets have made round trips to the Caribbean earlier this year, even while commercial Canadian airlines agreed to suspend direct flights to the region. Aircraft owned by companies like Irving Oil Transport and Nova Scotia-based CFFI Ventures have flown to Canada from the US this year via mandatory stops in Toronto or Montreal, where the quarantine hotels are located. But the planes then quickly flew on to smaller Canadian airports. CFFI said its fleet is operated in accordance with all guidelines, rules and laws. Irving Oil did not respond to a request for comment. Redmond Shannon, Global News, London.